Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Chris Amsler. I'll be emceeing in the room today. We have a really cool doctor guy here today. Dr. James Todaro is with Med Credits, and he'll be talking about telemedicine on the blockchain from a doctor's perspective. So please welcome Dr. James Todaro.
Thanks, Chris. That would be helpful. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at the Sheraton. From a talk on telemedicine on the blockchain from a doctor's perspective. So I'm going to talk about kind of the healthcare system overall and the inefficiencies in the current healthcare system and how the blockchain can potentially optimize the system both in the US as well as in the international healthcare system. And the vehicle I'm going to use to go through this optimization is the Med Credits platform, which is the platform that my company is developing. So first of all, what is wrong with the current healthcare system? So a number of things are wrong with the current healthcare system, but one of them is time and money, the inefficiencies in the system, and patient costs. So seeing a doctor costs money. And in the USA, it's an average about $100 to $200 for a visit with a doctor. Now, obviously, this depends a lot on what type of doctor you're seeing, whether it's a specialist or a primary care doctor, and where you're located. Now, some people might say, oh, it doesn't cost me this much, my copay is much less, my employer pays the health care insurance. But remember, that money is going from your employer is going to the health insurance company, so instead of going to your salary, so it's indirectly still coming out of your pocket. It's not like it's truly only $20 to see that doctor. Why is healthcare so expensive? So there's a lot of overhead for both the physicians, the hospitals, the clinics, and these are just a few examples of what increases that price. So there's complex billing systems, building expenses, so the actual real estate. This personnel, so personnel in both running the clinic or hospital, the personnel who are submitting the claims for billing. There's a lot of people to kind of act as middlemen in the process of a patient seeing a doctor. Medical record systems, so medical record systems are actually fairly expensive and require a lot of training for the staff to be able to use them properly. Constantly need maintenance for upgrades and changing the way they're retrieving data. So that costs a lot of money. And then finally, denial of insurance claims. So when you see a doctor, the doctor does a visit and then submits a claim to the insurance company for reimbursement. Oftentimes that claim will get rejected right away, or it'll get covered but only part of it. Maybe it'll only pay 50% of what the actual exam costs. And so what do physicians have to do to make up for this? They charge everyone more to make up for those claims where you get less. So that's the cost side of seeing a doctor. Now there's the time side. So the average patient waits about 32 days to see a specialist. Now, again, this varies depending on what country you're in. In Europe, if you're a part of the public healthcare system, you have to first see a primary care doctor to get a referral to a specialist. And then even when you get that referral, you can still wait weeks to see that specialist. So if you have a particular mole or some skin problem that you're concerned about, and you might be losing sleep at night over it, it may take a few weeks before you actually see that doctor and get that taken care of. And same with a lot of radiology, imaging, orthopedics, and other specialties as well. Finally, there's the actual time it takes to see the doctor. I don't know about you, but for me, it's an inconvenience. A lot of us lead very busy lives, and we have to take time off to go see the doctor. And from the whole entire encounter with the physician, on average, takes about 2 hours. So that's counting commute time, seeing the doctor, sitting in waiting rooms, getting worked up by the staff first before actually even seeing the physician. I know, so I'm a medical doctor in Michigan, ophthalmology, eye surgery, but patients oftentimes wait in our waiting room for 2-3 hours, and it can be very frustrating. It's an entire afternoon or morning. So what is the solution to this? So our proposed solution is a telemedicine platform on the blockchain. And with Ethereum smart contracts and the latest blockchain technology, we're really the first platform to decentralize telemedicine, creating a frictionless global healthcare market. Now, a couple questions of this. Why decentralize telemedicine, and what does this fix in the healthcare system? So with the Ethereum smart contracts, you can now eliminate the middleman. You can streamline the encounter from the patient between the patient and the physician. And what this allows you to do is where virtually 100% of the fee for getting that evaluation from the doctor goes to the doctor. So there's no central middleman or central entity that's taking 30%, 40% of that encounter. So it allows doctors to be able to charge less for patients. One of the tricks with creating a truly decentralized, so our mantra is we're creating a completely decentralized healthcare system. And to do this, you have to have every aspect of the platform decentralized. If you have any central point that is connected as a nexus that can be shut down or can be controlled, then it's no longer a decentralized system, really. So going along with that theme, we have to have a decentralized way to store patient data. And so we're using Swarm, which is an Ethereum protocol, which allows decentralized high encryption data storage. Another aspect of the platform is the way the case files and patient data is stored is it gives patients control of their own health record. In the current healthcare system, it's really more the hospital or the physician or the clinic that controls and owns that healthcare record. Some doctors will print you off the chart note and give it with you if you request it, but a lot of times you have to go to the medical records department, sign some forms, request access, and you may get it later. You might get it right then. And it's not really and you may still not even get the actual chart note. You might just get some lab results. A lot of hospitals now are doing something where you have a portal, but you're not really getting your whole medical record. And so in this system, the patient controls the access to their data. So you lend access to any healthcare providers who are participating in your care. So essentially giving more control over the health of the patient to the patient. Cross-border frictionless payment outside of traditional banking portals. So this is just digital currency overall. It's a decentralized way to transact with another party without having a central entity like a bank or PayPal or something like that. And so what you get is you get a decentralized global platform that will reduce costs and create a free market economy. And we're able to do this because you're connecting patients to doctors all over the world. So you're not limited to your geographic area or even your country. You're now able to access a whole market of doctors. And what this does, this distributes the supply of doctors to meet the demand of patients. And this can ultimately result in much more affordable care. You can, on our platform with our market analysis, we expect that you'd be able to get a board-certified physician's recommendation within minutes under $10. And the within minutes part, again, comes from the supply of doctors now that can evaluate your care. And this is an international supply. So if it's 3 in the morning in the US, it's around 8, 9 in the morning in Europe. And so you have doctors around the clock who will be on this platform able to evaluate your case. So this is a little bit of a technical slide. It's an overview of the MedCredits platform. There are multiple layers of the platform. So starting from the top is the kind of layer that the patients and doctors interface with, so the actual user interface. And the first app on the platform, which we released the alpha a couple months ago now, is the Hippocrates. So it's a teledermatology app. So we chose teledermatology because it's one of the most applicable specialties to telemedicine. There's a number of studies out there that have shown that it is effective, at least as a screening tool for a lot of skin conditions, and can actually prevent you from having to see the doctor and do the waiting and the extra expense. This is just the first app on the platform. Some people that are looking at us say, oh, it's just a dermatology app. It's not. That's just the first app on the platform. We're looking where down the road we expect that there'll be a multitude of specialties on this platform. So you could have mental health, such as psychology, psychiatry, internal medicine, family practice, radiology. And we, over the last couple of months, have been getting a lot of physicians from a number of specialties who are talking to us saying, hey, I think this would be really applicable to my specialty for XYZ reason. Can we be part of the team? Can we help you build this out? Is there anything that we can do to help you to foster development in those other specialties as well? Moving on to the API layer, so encrypt, decrypt, key management. So obviously this is patient data, so it's going to be important to have encryption standards on there. Moving on to the next layer, so token curated physician registry. I'm going to talk about that in a couple slides, but that's actually a very important layer of the platform. So again, it goes back to have a decentralized platform, every aspect has to be decentralized. And so with the token curated physician registry, it's a decentralized way to have a pool, a verified pool of registered physicians on the network. You can't have just a pool that's controlled by a central entity, because then it's no longer really a decentralized system. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the term token curated registries, but just over the last 2-3 months, it's starting to become a much more popular idea, and I think it's going to continue to grow in popularity. But it's basically a way to have a pool of verified professionals for particularly for any profession. And we're really the first ones that are creating one for physicians. DAO governance, so decentralized autonomous organization governance. So this is something that potentially could come down the road, where patients could form alliances, insurance together in the contractual relationship, or physicians can do malpractice insurance in a contractual relationship with each other. Again, that would be much further down the road, though. So decentralized storage, I talked about that a little bit. Our app right now uses IPFS, but we're going to be switching over to Swarm protocol just because it's more native for the Ethereum platform. Identity, so there has to be an easy way for patients and physicians to log in to the system, and so we're using Civic and Uport for that, which that's only part of the puzzle, and that kind of ties in into the token curated physician registry. And then finally, the final layer is the Ethereum blockchain. So this is on a decentralized blockchain. This isn't a permissioned blockchain or a private blockchain. So there are a lot of healthcare companies that are attempting to usually make medical records keeping a little bit more efficient, and will be using private and permission blockchains. So those aren't decentralized platforms. That's a centralized way to maybe streamline the process a little bit more. And I'll kind of tell you my thoughts on that in a little bit. So this is the mobile app version of the MedCredits platform, of the Hippocrates Dermatology app. So it's as simple as snapping a photo of your skin ailment, providing a few details around this lesion, how long you've had it, your age, where you're from, submitting the case to the network, and then a doctor can then pull that case from the queue and then provide a medical diagnosis and recommendation within minutes to hours. I was going to actually, so we did release the demo of the app a couple months ago, and I was actually going to go through that with you guys, but we don't have the, you have to have a MetaMask account to do it, and we didn't have the adapter to hook that up. So unfortunately, I can't go through that with you. But if you actually go to our website and request access, we'll give you access to the demo to play around with it and see how it works. And it's a completely decentralized demo. So this is running on IPFS. It is, it's on the Ethereum testnet Ropsten, so it's a decentralized system. It's not centralized. So even though it looks very simple in the user interface, what's going on behind the scenes is actually really neat. This is the kind of the smart contract algorithm that guides the patient-physician encounter on the app. And I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's what it does is it actually gives patients a few options on it. So once you receive a diagnosis from a medical doctor, you have an option to either accept that diagnosis or submit to the network for a second opinion. And this is particularly neat. So it helps keep doctors honest in the system, as well as giving patients a discounted option to get a second opinion in. And two independent opinions is actually very powerful in medicine and in anything. If you have two completely independent opinions that agree on something, that's pretty strong evidence that, that something is likely accurate. And the way this works is patients have the option to opt for that second opinion, which comes in at a discounted rate. And then we have the algorithm set up so that if the second doctor's opinion does not match the first doctor's opinion, the patient gets a partial refund, which we think that's fair, because now you have two independent opinions that disagree with each other, and you may need to submit to the network again to get a third opinion, or maybe use the money that you get back to see your local doctor, because perhaps this actually needs to be seen in person by a local specialist. So I promised to talk a little bit about the token curated registry of physicians. So this is so the way the registry works is doctors first create a identity through Civic or Uport, and so this ties that person, that name, to an address, and basically identifies that person is who they say they are. But now you need a way to prove that that person is a physician or who they say they are. Are they actually a doctor or a specialist in a particular specialty? And so what you do is the physician then will submit an application fee to the network, which is in the MedCredits token, MedX. And then they'll submit so the same documents that are hanging on the wall of their clinic, so their diploma, medical license, where they went to medical school, They'll submit images of those documents to the network, and then verifiers or nodes on the network will then review those documents, compare that to national databases of physicians, NPI numbers, for instance, in the U.S., to verify that that is a physician, that that person is indeed actually a physician. And there's a window where these nodes can flag that person, say, there's no evidence online, they're not in the NPI database that this is actually a physician, so we're going to flag this. We will take questions, and I'll take your question in 1 second. And then it goes to a vote on the network where the MedCredits token holders then vote whether that is a doctor or not. And so the majority of the people who vote correctly after that window closes then get the application fee from the doctors, a part of it, as well as any of the fees staked by the MedCredits holders who voted incorrectly. So it incentivizes honest behavior on the network. And that's 50% of the application fee. So let's say the doctor is actually who they say they are, then 50% of the fee goes to the network, but the other 50% stays locked in the smart contract. So if the doctor loses their license down the road or something like that, where they're flagged at a later time, they potentially could still lose that 50% application fee. If they are deemed to be nefarious from the very beginning, then they lose the whole application fee. Did you have a question, sir? Yeah. Sure, yeah. So the question is, how does this tie into insurance companies? Is this a private pay system? How does it work? Because a lot of insurance companies won't pay unless the physician is board certified and verified in a way that is in their database. And it actually, the problem goes a little bit further in the U.S. because you have to be a doctor who has to be licensed in multiple states to be able to practice medicine in those states. I'm a doctor in Michigan. I can't provide a medical diagnosis or recommendation to someone in Texas unless I take a specific licensing exam. They're becoming more friendly with the telemedicine licensing exams because telemedicine, just aside from blockchain, is a massive wave that's coming to medicine. And regulation is trying to keep up with that, and they're just now coming out with ways to tests that people can do to be able to practice telemedicine in a variety of states, as opposed to going through each state and taking their board certification process. So to answer your question, this is private pay, and the reason we are doing that and we think that it'll be successful is because we can drive down the costs so much. For under $10, it might be worth your time and money to get this evaluation, so even though insurance isn't covering for it, $10, I mean, that's less than a lot of copays. So the value of the MedCredits token is really ties a lot into the participation of the network. Because one of the main things that gives this token value is this token curated registry of physicians, because that's where people are staking their MedCredits tokens and verifying doctors, which can basically to give a token value, some people have to be holding it. And so in this system, as this network becomes more robust, you have more physicians who are jumping on board and submitting to be physicians on the application. You have kind of more demand for the MedCredits token, which kind of goes into a separate theme. So I've been in crypto for 4 or 5 years now. So MedCredits is something that we developed just about a year and a half ago. We started developing this basically. We were looking for whether there's a blockchain application to healthcare to make the process more efficient. So that's when we began developing this. But I follow a lot of other stuff in Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto and stuff. But something that's interesting, this is a total aside from this, but is the idea of token velocity. And what that is there's some question as to which of these tokens, what gives these tokens value. If they're just purely a payment token, then there's no reason for anyone to really hold it. So what you'll have potentially down the road is you'll have more of a mainstream currency, such as Ethereum, that you're taking your Ethereum, submitting it to this network, and then on the back end, it's converted into whatever the native payment token is for that, transferred across their platform to whoever the recipient is, and then automatically converted back to Ethereum on the other end. And there's decentralized exchanges now that are coming out that will probably, you'll be able to have an API that just accesses that and have this whole process on the back end. So no one is going to actually be holding the token then. It's just going to be going in and out within seconds. And so my suspicion, and there's a lot of other thought leaders in this space that are saying similarly, is there's a good chance these payment tokens could go down in value very significantly. So I think that's something to look out for in this very euphoric space at this time. Yes?
Yeah, quick question. Number one, how is the data stored? Where is it stored?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, supposing I use a telemedicine doctor, you said you have dermatology right now. What other specialties are coming on board, and how quickly will that go out? It sounds like a very interesting concept,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you want to get that second opinion.
Yep.
Even if you have a doctor, locally, but you want a second opinion from
For sure.
somebody else.
So a couple questions, just if you weren't unable to hear. So first question is, how is the data stored? And the second question is, are we adding more medical specialties to it, and when are those medical specialties coming? Because like I said earlier, we have the dermatology app is released now. So to answer the first question, so it's going to be a decentralized storage system, Swarm. So we're currently using IPFS. So the technical details we're kind of transferring over to a different protocol right now, but it's going to be encrypted data storage, and it's going to be decentralized, so it's stored on all the people participating in the Swarm decentralized storage protocol. At least initially, patients do not have to submit any identifying information, so they don't have to submit a name or an address, anything like that. Down the road, this will change as patient charts are integrated. They might have a identity that may be cloaked, maybe ZK Snark, something like that, some protocol that might cloud who they are, or maybe it is just their actual name and stuff in the encrypted system. But we're kind of taking steps along the way. So first of all, it's going to be anonymous for patient use, and then as that technology grows, then patients can have more of an identified information on the network. And then the second question, which is medical specialties. So yeah, kind of like I alluded to earlier, we suspect a lot of medical specialties coming on board down the road. And we actually, after building this basic platform, we're going to encourage third parties to develop on it as well, and we're going to try to foster and support that development. We're getting a lot of interest from a lot of different medical specialties. I have a couple of calls later today, actually, with a group of physicians, 15 physicians that are all over the world that are interested in being onboarded in this process. And we actually we just opened up on our website a few days ago a place where physicians can register to be the first ones to invited to this token curated registry. And when I say invited, I basically just mean sending them out an email saying, hey, the registry is open. You can submit your application to the network and get approved on it. Because one of the things that's really important that will give this whole system value is the physicians on it. I think that if we have quality physicians on the system, patients will come. And then, since I was talking about third-party apps, one of the neat things about this token curated registry of physicians is, since we are the first movers in this space, our goal is to build a very robust network of physicians. And the hope is down the road, any blockchain healthcare company that needs to access a pool of physicians that's interested in drawing dermatologists or any medical specialty can just access this whole registry that's been already built for them. And you can do that with a fee in med credits. Question? Excuse me. So, very good question. So this is an international platform. So it's going to be physicians from all over the world that can be submitted and apply to this network. So the criteria will be whatever their country, so whatever information they have access with. Most countries have some version of a national database where you're able to look up and verify that a certain person is a physician, or know the local credentialing documents or what they look like. From a patient's perspective, so some people say, maybe I don't want an international doctor, or maybe I do. So there'll be different tiers on the network of payment structures, and you'll have different options where you can select a doctor you can have a checkbox where you select doctors from certain countries, let's say. Or you can do payment tiers where you say, oh, I want to pay $20 to access this certain pool of physicians. Or if you say, I think this is probably fine, it's probably nothing serious, I just want to get an opinion on it, you can select a tier where it opens up to physicians anywhere in the world can submit a diagnosis or recommendation for you. And so just, again, by distributing that supply of doctors all over the world, the potential to bring this cost down is dramatic. Yes?
For healthcare providers, as we know, I was kind of troubled with the like the first or second opinion. As we all know, every physician, like those are holistic practice or integrative medicine, and those that are mainstream or traditional medicine. So how will you be able to reconcile? Because for sure, the recommendations will never be the same. I mean, so is there like a third party, or will there be some option for these patients, whether they want to go for the traditional medicine or holistic or traditional or even herbal medicine or Chinese medicine?
Sure, yeah. So that's a good question. The question is, different kind of the medical recommendations all across the world are a little bit different. Some have a more holistic approach. Some is maybe a little bit more westernized medicine approach. And even within westernized medicine or holistic medicine, there are different treatment recommendations. So, yep. So, to answer that question, so the the diagnosis for the smart contract algorithm to work, it's the diagnosis that's being matching up between doctors, not the recommendation, because we understand that doctors are going to have different recommendations. So the way the smart contract works is it matches the diagnosis, and then if the diagnoses match between the doctors, because even Western or more of a holistic approach, the technical medical diagnosis should be fairly similar between the two. But since recommendations differ, that's why we have that second opinion option. Maybe one of the opinions is westernized medicine and one is holistic. You now have the option to follow one or the other. Down the road, potentially, we could have a pool where it is a holistic approach or more of a westernized medicine approach. That's actually a very interesting thought. I've never had that question before. Okay, this is a timeline of where we've come from in the MedCredits development platform. So started a year and some few months ago, back in December 2016, and put our team together, and we released the Hippocrates Teledermatology app back in December, and the goal is to have the token curated registry as well as the Hippocrates app accessing that data by April 2018. And then, like I said earlier, we expect to have a number of third-party dApps being built on our platform as well, and we want to encourage that as much as possible. We're going to make everything open source once we launch it. I think that's in the spirit of crypto. This is a little overview of the healthcare market. So, like I said earlier, telemedicine is, most young doctors see telemedicine as a massively effective way to treat patients. A lot of times patients don't have to see the doctor, especially for something a lot of times routine or for frequent visits. It can be done over a telemedicine consult as opposed to an in-person exam, which is just more expensive and less convenient. So our go-to-market strategy. So different ways that people can interact with this network. So first of all, you can earn MedCredits tokens in the network by participating in verifying physicians on the network, as I talked earlier in the registry of physicians. We want to make the barrier to use for patients as low as possible. And the way we're able to do this is we're going to make the platform free during a trial period for patients. So patients anywhere in the world are going to be able to submit their skin problem to the network and get evaluated by a doctor and get a board-certified doctor's recommendation. And the reason we're able to do this is because we have a reserve of MedCredits tokens, the Medix tokens, that we are able to pay the doctors directly with that. So doctors are still incentivized to participate in the network and provide these diagnoses while it's to no cost to patients. And we have some marketing strategies for creating some buzz with that. And then finally, besides the payment incentivization for physicians, there's the goal where they're going to have a rating system on the platform where doctors will want to have a number of cases under their belt, as well as have a good review. And once the payment tiers develop, those doctors will probably be in the higher tiers of payment. So this is our team. We've grown to about 15 people now. There's myself, and then there's Dr. Praver. And we have a total of 5 medical doctors on the team here in the U.S. and a number of developers. We just brought Tim Enneking on board actually last month, so we're pretty happy to have him as an advisor. He started the first Bitcoin fund back in 2013 here in the U.S., so he knows a lot about this space, been in it for a while, and has a lot of guidance on the token sale aspects. Token sales launching March. That's all I've got. How much? So you can go to the website to see. But the sale is starting in March, though, and we have a whitelist we're building already. So if you're interested, visit the website. Our contact info is on there as well. So if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to shoot us an email. You can request access to test the DApp yourself. If you're a physician, you can send us your information to register as a physician. So we'll email you once the token curated registry goes out. And then finally you can just register for our newsletter, and we'll send you any updates we're doing on the platform. Who said that? What? Token supply? Yeah, so it's a fixed supply of tokens. So there's 100 million tokens total that's capped, locked. 70% is being sold in the token sale. 20% is held for the development team, and then 10% is going to be used for those marketing purposes that I explained earlier. So a total of 70 million tokens out of the 100 million are going to be sold. We're not keeping a large chunk of them. Yeah.
So with the telemedicine policy for each specific state where you practice here in the United States, is this in compliance?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. The question is interstate compliance, which ties again into whether a doctor is board certified to practice in multiple states. So initially it's going to be based on the country of the patient and the physician. Is you're going to be, unless you are participating in a network where you show board certification credentials and across most of the states, it's not going to allow you to see a doctor. It's going to prevent you from seeing a doctor in a local state, and that'll be based off IP address. So basically, because the regulation just hasn't caught up yet for that. I think that's going to be changing down the road. But for now, it'll be where you're connected to either doctor in your state or an international doctor, because it is legal to have international opinions. Cleveland Clinic actually does this. They offer a second opinion where patients anywhere in the world can submit their lab results, details to Cleveland Clinic, and they'll evaluate it. It costs about $800, though. All right. Well, thank you so much. Joe and I will be hanging around a little bit afterwards if anyone wants to talk about anything or has any more questions. Thank you so much.
Great job.
Hi, my name is Dave. Hey, welcome to you guys.
Our next speaker will be Derek Lavrinich at 9:05.